journey through the lives, times, culture and ferries in the world. Please pay attention to the emergency procedure notices displayed around the vessel. In the unlikely event of an emergency, you will hear 7 short blasts followed by 1 prolonged blast on the whistle. If you hear this signal, please make your way to the life jacket assembly points, following the assembly station direction signs displayed. The buoyancy apparatus on the top deck is in fact the seating, which will accommodate, along with the open reverse life rafts, 860 passengers. The crew will be on hand to give instructions and advice. Please note that smoking, including the use of e-cigarettes, is not permitted on any part of the vessel. And for your own safety, we also ask you not to stand on the seats or sit on the ship's rails. We advise you to remain seated throughout the journey, particularly when arriving and leaving terminals, and we ask cyclists to arise after all foot passengers have left the vessel with all information.
There's been a ferry across the Mersey for more than 800 years, providing a link between Liverpool and the Wirral shorelines. Pier Head, our starting point, takes its name from the long stone pier which once jutted out into the river from the shore next to the Sailors' Church, the Church of Our Lady and St Nicholas. You can see the church at the back and to the left of the line building, with a golden square rear ship on both the full top. Steam and revolution management. And this, combined with the Industrial Revolution and the open country and elements, draw Liverpool's future as a trading and effective force.
Liverpool's unique character has been influenced by a diverse music races, Welsh, Irish and English. The city is also known as the oldest Chinese community in Britain. Liverpool was once considered the British community of the American colonies in the 18th century. And this comes from time of the place good to Africa, straight to the sugar plantation, the British Empire, and the door to the New World. Between 1830 and 1930, the sail to America would take 35 days, and the trip to Australia lasted from 10 to 17 weeks, depending on the weather. The By the late 1800s, over 200 ships have travelled to all corners of the world. China, the industries and still on board the navigation. The city has always been called voyage. Facing the tobacco warehouse, in the restored North Warehouse, is the Titanic Hotel. The first phase of approximately 70% of the Northwest Freight runs through Liverpool. Currently under construction and adjacent to the dock is Liverpool 2, a new deep-water container terminal capable of handling 2 post-Panamax vessels simultaneously and able to handle 95% of all vessels that sail. Coastal reclamation has since made it fully accessible. The lighthouse was completed in 1830. Its tower stands nearly 30 metres high, and before it was decommissioned in 1973, the light could be seen for a distance of 15 miles. In front of these is New Brighton.
During the summer of 1965, Mersey Ferries carried more than 1 million passengers to New Brighton. By the 70s, the number had dropped to 200,000, and in 1973, the service ceased.
However, it's not all gloom, because New Brighton is now experiencing something of a resurgence. The new floor of Pavilion Theatre and Conference Centre has harnessed the heart and soul of one of Wirral's best loved and oldest entertainment venues and transformed it into a stunning theatre and conference centre. You can walk to New Brighton in about an hour from Seacombe along the Riverside Millennium Trail.
Looking towards New Brighton, the large group of trees along the foreshore is Vale Park, land which in the 18th century was part of this car common. It was near Vale Park where the famous gunpowder magazine stood. This is where ships used to stop to offload or pick up gunpowder on their way into or from port. Storing explosives in the docks themselves was seen as far too big a risk.
During the 18th and early 19th century, smuggling was rife throughout Britain. This area, Wallasey, was perfect for smugglers, because 300 years ago it was cut off from the rest of the Wirral by the Wallasey Pool on one side and the swamp of Binston Moss on the other.
It was an isolated, dangerous place, prone to sudden lifts and quicksand, and best negotiated only by the few who knew it well. One of the most notorious of the smugglers here was known as Mother Redcap, who ran an inn which stood by the shore.
Seacombe Terminal. Instructions and advice. Please note that smoking, including the use of e-cigarettes, is not permitted on any part of the vessel. And for your own sake, and we ask cyclists to alight after all foot passengers have left the vessel. Please be aware that at low tide, the next span passenger bridges will be at a safe angle. This angle is called low water. You may have difficulty if you are elderly or infirm, so please ask for help if required and take care. The low water times are displayed adjacent to the survey on the main deck of this vessel.
This idea has stood the test of time and is still still the most convenient way of getting passengers on and off the ferry. Over the years, the Mersey Ferries have not only provided transport for visitors and the people of Merseyside, they've also played their part during both World Wars. In the First World War, two of the Wallasey ferries, the Iris and the Daffodil, were commandeered by the government and used as landing craft for the Royal Marines in a daring raid to neutralise the port of Zeebrugge on the 23rd of April 1918. Both of the ferries were badly damaged by artillery and machine gun fire, but managed to escape and limp back to Dover. Because of their work, King George V allowed the vessels to use the word.
The city was a hub for entertainment and leisure, and the Mersey Ferries played a significant role in that tradition. From its arrival in 1951, the Royal Iris was popularly known as the fish and chip boat for the food served on board during its dance cruises. In 1950s, they built the Farm and Elvis Costello. If you're interested in finding out more about the Beatles, you can visit the Beatles story.
Design was later copied on a much grander scale by an American named Olmsted, who co-designed New York's Central Park. The clock tower with the green dome is Birkenhead Town Hall, which stands in the elegant Hamilton Square, one of the finest Victorian squares in Britain, and which, apart from Trafalgar Square, has the most Grade 1 listed buildings in one place in Britain. If you want to have a look, it's a 10-minute walk to the square from the terminal.
Woodside Terminal is also home to a U-boat story, where you can see the fascinating World War II German U-boat U-534. The submarine. Square brick tower close to the river is the ventilation shaft and pumping station for the Queensway road tunnel, one of 6 ventilation stations used to maintain fresh air within the tunnel at all times. It took 9 years to build Queensway, and it was opened in 1934 by King George V and Queen Mary. Far down below us now are the road and rail tunnels which cross under the River Mersey.
As we approach Woodside Terminal, you can see in the distance some of the elegant Victorian architecture built during Birkenhead's heyday. Birkenhead was the first town in Europe to operate a dedicated passenger tramway, and the first ever public park was built here, an idea of William Laird, the famous shipbuilder. It was paid for by the council and designed by Joseph Paxton, the famous designer of the Crystal Palace that featured in the Great Exhibition of 1851. The park, officially opened in 1847, offered opportunities for recreation to all Birkenhead residents, with the formation of a number of park-based clubs. Paxton's design was later copied on a much grander scale by an American named Olmsted, who co-designed New York's Central Park. The clock tower with the green dome is Birkenhead Town Hall, which stands in the elegant Hamilton Square, one of the finest Victorian squares in Britain, and which, apart from Trafalgar Square, has the most Grade 1 listed buildings in one place in Britain. If you want to have a look, it's a 10-minute walk to the square from the terminal.
This is Woodside Terminal. Welcome aboard one of the most famous ferries in the world. Please pay attention to the emergency procedure notices displayed around the vessel. In the unlikely event of an emergency, you will hear 7 short blasts followed by 1 prolonged blast on the whistle. If you hear the signal, Please make your way to the life jacket assembly points, following the assembly station direction signs displayed. The buoyancy apparatus on the top deck is in fact the seating, which will accommodate, along with the open reverse lifelines, please ask for help if required, and take care. The low water turns are displayed adjacent to the survey on the main deck of this vessel. As we leave Woodside, you can see the tall silver spire of St Mary's Church, which marks the site of the old Birkenhead Ferry, where the very first ferry service began.
In front of the church is a slipway built in 1840 called Monk's Ferry, and this is the spot where the monks would begin the mile-long journey across to Liverpool. On the other side of the slipway are the dry docks and slipways of Cammell Laird, famous for building many great ships, such as the Ark Royal, the Second Mauritania, and even some of the Mersey Ferries. The first ship built here was launched in 1829. Over 1,300 ships have been built here.
Took 74 years to build, and was the largest Anglican cathedral in the world. To the left, the delicate size of the left part of the property was quite clear, not an enormous piece of stained glass glass. Down the end, projects a triple display of lights illuminating throughout the interior.
The long piers with the big gantry cranes on the river are part of the Tranmere oil terminal, which can handle tankers weighing up to 300,000 tonnes. More than 10 million tonnes of oil are discharged here every year, and then pumped 10 miles upriver to the oil refinery at Stanley, the second largest refinery in England.
Further ahead, the large green area is Port Sunlight River Park, opened in 2014 and built on a former landfill site. Its many footpaths meander through wildflower meadows and trees, and there are stunning views over to Liverpool. Even further upriver are the eastern locks into the Manchester Ship Canal.